The rise of China has transformed the Indo-Pacific, fueling unprecedented economic growth and connecting markets from Tokyo to Jakarta. Trade routes have flourished, and millions have been lifted out of poverty as the region becomes a global economic powerhouse. Yet beneath this prosperity, anxiety simmers among China's neighbors who watch Beijing's growing influence with a mix of hope and apprehension. Beijing's assertive foreign policy and rapid military expansion have replaced earlier hopes of a peaceful rise with the reality of so-called wolf warrior diplomacy, marked by bold rhetoric and uncompromising stances on territorial disputes. The South China Sea and Taiwan Strait have become flashpoints where international law is tested daily and the risk of military conflict grows with each passing year. Smaller nations now face a stark choice: accommodate China's demands and risk their sovereignty, or push back and risk confrontation with a much larger power. For countries in the first island chain, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, this is not just a diplomatic dilemma, but a matter of national survival and the security of their people. China's strategic goal is to break through this chain and project its power deep into the Pacific, while these nations see the chain as their lifeline and their first and most vital line of defense. In response, old alliances are being revitalized and new partnerships are emerging across the region, not to provoke conflict but to deter aggression and maintain a fragile peace. The stakes could not be higher. The future of peace, stability, and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific hangs in the balance as the world watches this region on edge. The Philippines and Taiwan, though lacking formal ties, are drawn together by shared vulnerabilities and a common threat. For Taiwan, the danger is existential. China's military pressure and threats of force are constant. The Philippines faces creeping encroachment in the West Philippine Sea, with Chinese vessels harassing its fishermen and outposts. Both nations see a future where unchecked Chinese dominance would undermine their sovereignty and security. If Taiwan falls, the Philippines would be strategically squeezed, making defense of its own waters nearly impossible. Recognizing this, leaders in Manila and Taipei are quietly rethinking old diplomatic protocols. President Marcos Jr. has taken a firmer stance, revitalizing alliances and openly stressing the importance of peace in the Taiwan Strait. In the face of a common threat, these geographic neighbors are becoming de facto security partners. The narrow strait between the Philippines' northern islands and Taiwan makes geography destiny. Any conflict over Taiwan would spill directly onto the Philippines' doorstep, with immediate humanitarian and security consequences. President Marcos Jr. acknowledges that the Philippines cannot remain uninvolved if war erupts nearby. The presence of nearly 200,000 Filipino workers in Taiwan adds urgency to contingency planning. Strategically, the northern Philippines are critical. For China, they offer a route to outflank Taiwan. For the U.S. and allies, they're a vital base for deterrence. These islands are, in effect, an unsinkable aircraft carrier in a key location. For Taiwan, a resilient Philippines complicates Beijing's invasion plans. For the Philippines, Taiwan is a crucial buffer. If Taiwan falls, the Philippines' northern border becomes the new front line with China. Their fates are inextricably linked by geography. Political sensitivities mean the Philippines and Taiwan's security partnership is discreet but growing. Both adhere to the One China policy, so cooperation happens quietly, away from public view. Under President Marcos Jr., military and Coast Guard officials from both sides are engaging more frequently, often under the guise of unofficial exchanges. These meetings focus on practical issues, sharing maritime surveillance, coordinating disaster relief, and building trust for crisis response. Joint planning for typhoons or earthquakes doubles as preparation for security contingencies. This incremental engagement strengthens their defense posture without crossing Beijing's red lines. The goal: build a credible deterrent while avoiding overt provocation. Quiet cooperation is laying the foundation for a robust, pragmatic partnership. Security cooperation is moving from theory to practice through carefully managed exercises and intelligence sharing. While direct joint drills are too provocative, Taiwan is being quietly integrated into regional security architecture. In the annual Balikatan exercises, Taiwanese observers learn from U.S. and Filipino counterparts, fostering interoperability for a potential crisis. These drills increasingly simulate scenarios relevant to Taiwan's defense, such as denying Chinese access to the Luzon Strait. Tabletop exercises allow officers to plan for blockades or evacuations, ironing out command and logistics. New bases in northern Luzon, built with U.S. support, provide infrastructure for rapid response. Intelligence sharing on Chinese movements in the Bashi Channel and South China Sea gives both nations early warning and a unified operational picture. This growing collaboration turns two separate lines of sight into a single, coordinated defense. The Philippines-Taiwan partnership is reinforced by the United States and Japan, who see their security as deeply intertwined with both. For Washington and Tokyo, the stability of the region is not just a distant concern, it's a matter of national interest, shaping their foreign policy and defense strategies. The U.S., as a treaty ally to the Philippines and the primary security guarantor for Taiwan, bridges the gap between these two partners. American commitment is visible in both diplomatic support and military presence, ensuring that neither stands alone in the face of regional threats. Expanded U.S.-Philippine defense agreements provide strategic bases in northern Luzon, supporting both Philippine and Taiwan defense. These bases are not just symbolic, they offer real operational advantages, allowing rapid deployment and coordination in times of crisis. U.S.-led exercises like Balikatan bring Filipino and Taiwanese personnel together, building practical cooperation and trust. These joint drills enhance readiness and foster interoperability, making the alliance more resilient. Japan, shedding its post-war pacifism, now views Taiwan's security as inseparable from its own, given its reliance on sea lanes near Taiwan. The Japanese government has become more vocal about the need to protect these vital routes, recognizing that any disruption would directly impact its economy and security. Japan is doubling its defense budget, strengthening ties with the Philippines and joining joint drills, adding another layer of deterrence. This shift marks a significant evolution in Japan's regional role, as it steps up to share more responsibility for collective security. This trilateral cooperation, US, Japan, Philippines, creates a powerful web of deterrence that benefits Taiwan. By working together, these nations send a clear message that aggression will not go unanswered. When the US and Philippines train in the Luzon Strait, Japan often participates, signaling unity and shared resolve. These joint maneuvers demonstrate the ability to coordinate complex operations across national boundaries. Japanese support for the Philippine Coast Guard enhances Manila's ability to monitor shared waters. This cooperation extends beyond military drills, including technology transfers and capacity-building efforts. Overlapping alliances create a network stronger than any single relationship. The interconnectedness of these partnerships means that a threat to one is a concern for all. The message to Beijing is unmistakable. Aggression will meet a coordinated response from a determined coalition, united in their commitment to peace and stability in the region. The Luzon Strait and Bashi Channel, stretching between the northern Philippines and Taiwan, are among the world's most strategic maritime choke points. These narrow waters, often overlooked on the map, play an outsized role in shaping the security and prosperity of Asia and beyond. Nearly half the world's container fleet passes through these waters every year, making them absolutely vital for global trade and the steady flow of energy supplies. Oil, gas, and manufactured goods all depend on this route, connecting East Asia to the rest of the world. For China, the strait is not just a commercial passage, it's the gateway for its navy and nuclear submarines to slip into the Pacific Ocean, where they can project power and potentially threaten U.S. interests and those of its allies. For the United States and its allies, maintaining control and surveillance over the strait is crucial to containing China's growing military reach and ensuring the balance of power in the region. A democratic Taiwan and a friendly Philippines act as vigilant gatekeepers, complicating any Chinese plan for regional dominance and making the strait a formidable obstacle to unchecked expansion. Their combined position, reinforced by strong U.S. and Japanese support, forms a formidable barrier, one that is constantly tested by regional tensions and military maneuvers. Both nations have a direct and urgent stake in keeping the strait open, secure, and free from Chinese control, as any disruption could have immediate consequences for their economies and security. For the Philippines, its own trade, energy imports, and national security all depend on the safe passage through these waters. For Taiwan, the strait is a lifeline for vital supplies, humanitarian aid, and defense reinforcements in times of crisis. The Luzon Strait is where the economic, political, and security interests of multiple nations converge most sharply, making it one of Asia's most critical and contested arteries. Rising tensions have prompted the Philippines to overhaul its defense strategy, focusing on its northernmost territories. The new archipelagic defense concept prioritizes protecting its islands and exclusive economic zone from external threats. Upgrades to ports and airstrips in Batanes and Luzon enable rapid military deployment and sustained patrols. Increased troop presence and improved logistics strengthen deterrence and surveillance over the Luzon Strait. Civilian infrastructure upgrades double as support bases for military and humanitarian operations. Coordination with the U.S. through new EDCS sites amplifies the Philippines' defense capabilities. By reinforcing its north and working with allies, Manila signals it is now an active player in regional security. The message: the Philippines is determined to defend its territory and contribute to Indo-Pacific stability. The convergence of Philippine and Taiwanese security interests, backed by the US and Japan, is reshaping Indo-Pacific stability. This partnership deters unilateral attempts to change the status quo, raising the cost of aggression for Beijing. It affirms a rules-based order showing that small democracies can resist coercion through collective action. Their cooperation inspires other nations to align strategically and defend their interests. The alliance is fundamentally defensive, focused on preventing conflict and maintaining peace. By safeguarding critical waterways, it protects global trade and prosperity. The Philippines-Taiwan partnership is a test case for regional security, dependent on continued commitment and careful diplomacy. If successful, it will prove that sovereignty and a free Indo-Pacific can be upheld by united, determined nations.